Ok, ciao ragazzi, benvenuti su Missionari per caso, seconda puntata. Oggi abbiamo il primo ospite, non so se sarà il primo per voi, Sarah. Ci parlerà di support raising, la sua esperienza e quello che effettivamente stiamo attraversando io e Nina in questo momento. Quindi Sarah, scusate, mi sono dimenticato di dirvi che purtroppo per voi oggi l'episodio sarà in inglese. Anche se su YouTube ci saranno i sottotitoli, quindi se volete la traduzione in italiano la trovate su YouTube solamente. Sara, ciao!
Ciao!
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to Missionary by Chance. That's the translation that sounds weird in English. Maybe, I don't know, but in Italian also maybe. But doesn't matter.
I like it.
So, yeah, first of all, who you are, where you come from, and why you are here in my podcast.
Well, my name is Sarah and I am 27 years old. I am from Australia and I have been serving with YWAM in missions for just under 7 years.
Wow, 7 years already.
7 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 5 or something like that.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just give me like a little bit of the pictures why you are in Italy. So how did you came to Italy with the base that they know already, because I already explained that there is a YWAM base here in Rosignano, but how did you join the base?
But simply,
Yeah, super simple.
I ended up in Italy because the Lord told me to come to Italy.
There we go.
But the extended version of that story is that a couple named Chris and Christina asked me to join a pioneering team, to pioneer a mission space in Italy, and I said yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's why, pretty interesting. But if you want to know more, you let me know. I will go deeper in the story, the Sarah story. But today we want to talk about support raising. Me and Nina, we're going through the process of support raising our ministry, which is like first time doing it. And we are trying to get different perspective from different people on the topic just to figure it out. So maybe we can raise some money at a certain point. So how was your, the question that I give you is exactly, what was your experience with support raising? I mean, give me your perspective on support raising.
Okay.
Good.
So one of the biggest challenges that I had to overcome while serving in missions was learning how to live in dependency on God, specifically for finance. In YWAM, they have a value specifically for this, which means that no matter whether you serve as the founder of YWAM or as the director or the leader of a campus, a training campus, or whether you're a new YWAM staff who's 18 years old and has just turned up to try out missions and find out whether it's for you, you have to raise your own funds.
Super fun.
And when I say your own funds, it's not just like the outside expenses, like I want to go to the shops or I want to go to the movies. This is all of your funds. So this is your funds for your accommodation, for your food, for your transportation, for your insurance, everything.
Everything.
Yes.
Literally everything. Yeah.
So it's been a journey because I was raised in Australia with a family that went to church regularly, and we had relationship with the Lord, definitely, but there was no challenge to step out in this area, in dependency on the Lord. And so this is actually specifically an area where I learned so much through being put in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
I would say that my story with faith and finance is probably not the blueprint for everybody coming into missions. YWAM recommends that you have $2,000 minimum in monthly support. So that's people that are partnering with you in what you're doing in the nation that you're called to for the kingdom of God. Amen. And I had been fundraising. I had felt called to a specific mission space. I'd been fundraising and I wasn't getting very far with the fundraising, but I knew that the Lord had called me into missions and I knew the date and the time that I was meant to leave. And so I came into YWAM with, I think, $600 a month. And that's Australian dollars. That's not American dollars.
Out of the 2,000 advised.
Out of the 2,000 advised. And rent for me cost around $450 a month. So really not bad.
Yeah, you just have 150 Australian dollars left.
Yeah,
just for all the rest. That's fine.
And about 6 to 7 months into my commitment, I had a major supporter drop out. He was an amazing man of God, but he had just lost his job. Yeah. And so it was fair to say, yes, he could no longer support me. And my support went down to about $120 a month.
Yeah.
Yes. And so this is the time period where I really began to get challenged. Like before I was scraping by, and I very much had a poverty mindset in some ways, but I was scraping by. I was just managing. But at this point, it's like I literally do not have enough money to pay for my basic needs. So, Lord, if you have me in this place and you've called me here, I will do my part. I will fundraise. But outside that, I really need you to move this week. So
just right now.
Yeah. And he did. I ended up for the next 2 years serving in missions, and my support never increased, although I did fundraise. But he provided in a variety of other ways. So I'm talking about monthly support when I say that.
Yeah, like regular, every month support coming in.
Yeah, but I had many different random donations come in a very timely manner. When I say that, generally it's not early, it's right on time when you need it. And I learned that when the Lord calls you, he provides for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most like difficult things to get over, to understand, to live out of it. It's very hard. I mean, we had it in our mind, but just know it is not enough. When you live it, it's different.
Right.
It's totally different.
Yeah, because you've never been challenged in this area before. So I didn't just switch from working a full-time job to having no money, coming into missions on support, and then being able to just instantly trust God for finance. This wasn't just like a relaxing process where I'm like, great, I know that the Lord provides, so I have no stress in this area.
I will get comfortable in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I went through a lot of wrestling with the Lord, and I had a lot of doubts about whether he would provide for quite a while. And it was a process for me. And I definitely learned that his goal was never the finance. His goal was always something different that he was trying to do in my heart, and it was not the finance. But I have a lot of fun stories around finance. Some of them being like corporate times where our base, our campus, our training campus for missions was actually fundraising for things. And it might be anywhere between a couple of $100,000 for a medical ship, or to buy a building for a few $1 million. I saw this funding come through.
Wow.
To personal stories of provision, whether that be $50 for fried chicken and drinks for friends at a gathering that I was going to, or a couple of $1,000 I would need for an outreach to Mongolia to do Bible distribution.
Wow.
And he provided every time.
Yeah. That's why I wanted your perspective on the podcast, because I know that many people can give us like the blueprint of it, but I think there is always, even if you are, and of course our advice is to organize yourself and
organize and fundraise.
Yeah, of course, it's very important. But even if you do, I think there is a moment where you're gonna find yourself in that situation. Mm-hmm. Like we already lived that kind of situation, and we just started. So
yeah, I find it really interesting when you like study characters in the Bible that are called by God into ministry. Every single one of them gets called into dependency on the Lord. So I think that it's something that you can't avoid if you say yes to God's calling on your life. He will put you in a place of dependency for a variety of amazing reasons. Yeah, it is unavoidable, whether that's finance or something else.
Here we go. I mean, yeah, you got it. But I think it's pretty true. It's like, yeah. And it's one of the things that we are learning is exactly that. I mean, how the Lord, because as human beings, I give you the example, me and Nina, we are a couple that in our mind, it's like if we have the money, we do something. If we don't have the money, we don't do that. We don't do the thing, you know? It's like other people, they used to put things on the credit card or something like that. We are not. We are like, literally, if we do have the money right now to do something, we do that thing. Otherwise, we wait until the money are there.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work with the Lord. I mean,
work.
no.
Yeah.
And it's a big shifting. Like, try to change your way to think out about things. It's not easy. It's gonna like,
it's uncomfortable, and
it's
you
a
might
process.
have to learn the lesson many times.
Yeah. Is there a point where you get a little bit more comfortable with that, or it's gonna be like that always? I mean, how is it right now?
Interesting question. So I would say for the first potentially 3-ish years, it was very uncomfortable. Like it did improve, but it was a slow, gradual improvement. But I wouldn't say at the end of those 3 years that I was out of the uncomfortable. It was like less uncomfortable.
Still uncomfortable, but a little bit less.
But there's a lot of value to it because something the Lord began to teach me about was the fact that, okay, if you're having doubt when it comes to his provision for something he's spoken that you're going to do or that he's going to provide for, that's a sign of a lack of trust. And how do you build trust with somebody?
Yeah.
You build it through relationship and through intimacy. And so for me, I began to realize anytime I was experiencing doubt or the uncomfortable, it was God's way of calling me into greater intimacy with him and saying, actually, there's more depth of relationship I can have with you, and I'm using dependency on me to show you that there's further that we can go. So, it was good, but I think the solution isn't like just seeing God's provision. It's realizing, it's all about investing in relationship with the Lord and having doing daily life with the Lord, because then you get to know who he really is and you realize he is very reliable, guys. Yeah. He is the creator, the all-powerful God who really could provide in any moment that he wants to, but he chooses sometimes to wait to teach us things.
Yeah, that will be my next question, actually, what you learned from support raising. But I think that thing, like the relationship with God, I can talk about our experience. I cannot talk for everybody, but I think it's pretty common. You think you have a relationship with God until you realize you don't. I mean, you do have it, but it's like not deep enough, not like reliable enough, not, I don't know. It's a lot of not.
Yeah. From my experience, it's like, it's a lot of not, but it's not exactly that you lack it. It's that he wants to show you that he wants to develop something.
Yeah.
So it's not a negative thing and he's not impatient. It's like, hey, I want to reveal this to you so that I can develop it.
Yeah. It's like, I want to show you that there is more that you can have.
Yeah.
You can live out all your life like that. Nobody's gonna like push you or obligate you to do it, but it's like he wants that. So
and I remember it was like a few weeks into being in missions, and our director at the campus that I was at called a meeting base-wide. We were a medical ships missions base, so we called a meeting base-wide for everyone together because we were in need of finance for the medical ship that we were running in Papua New Guinea. Ships are very expensive to run, and it's probably maybe it can be sometimes up to $100,000 a month to do basic running of a ship. And they were out of gas. And you have legal limits that you need in a ship for balance on the ocean. And they needed $40,000 that day. That's what they hadn't been able to raise yet. So he called a meeting. We all gathered together in a room and we prayed. And I think we prayed for maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, and began to just seek the Lord. And we ended the meeting, went back to our jobs, and maybe 3 hours later we had a message, the money's come in, we're all good. And I'm like, what is this place? What is going on? And the Lord is providing like that for someone? Okay. interesting. If he can do that for a ship, then I definitely think that he can provide my daily needs.
Yeah. And so now, I mean, what did you change? What did you change in your support raising? Like, let me use this word, which I don't like, but strategy. Like, so what you practically can do to
actually support raise well. Yeah.
I mean, your way. What you like to do? It's like there are thousands different ways to do it. So I think it's pretty personal. I mean, you have some basics knowledge that many people can give you, and it's gonna be more or less the same. But then I think there is like a personal touch to it. Yeah. So what you prefer to do?
Yeah, I think what I'm doing now is different to what I was doing previously, because for the first few years, I was really learning, the Lord learning. I was learning about God as provider, and now I'm starting to learn more about stewarding what he has provided me with. And so it is a bit different, but I needed to first learn that he provided. So the strategy then versus now is different, but I think that the best strategy that I've come to realize is that you need to be able to share with confidence about what you're doing, that it's valuable. And you have to believe that the work that you're doing is valuable, that working for God's kingdom and having people come into the family of God is valuable.
Yeah.
And when you share that with someone, they have an opportunity to partner.
These are people that you know or people that you don't know? It's like, how do you pick a person to share with?
Well, generally, my strategy for picking people is I go and I pray whenever I have been in need. Whether that was the first couple of years or now, my strategy has always been to say, hey, Lord, how should I go about fundraising? And it was very simple. Sometimes he would say, reach out to these 3 people. And other times he would say, send out an email blast to the 100 or 200 people I had built up at that point. Sometimes it was make an Instagram post. Very uncomfortable. Sometimes he said, don't do anything. The money's going to come in. And so the strategy was different depending on what I felt the Lord doing. And what's interesting is sometimes I would reach out to people and they would say no. No is a very hard response to hear from people. But I would find the same day or even the same hour that I made these asks, someone else would give me the money that I hadn't asked for. And I think the Lord was helping me get used to hearing no sometimes, because it's actually okay. It shouldn't break us when we hear no from people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for some people, it's easier to receive a no from somebody. For some other people, it's not so nice. But yeah, I totally get it. I mean, it's like, and you mentioned like 200 people in the mailing list. So that's people that you build relationship with during these 7 years. So people that you met and you invite like in.
I had a gathering before I left the first time around where I shared about what I was going to do, and I gave them options about different ways they could either keep in contact with me or come along on the journey with me through partnering with me, whether in prayer or with finance. And that's where I began to build this list of people. But I would also just make posts on Instagram saying, I'm sending out an update, sharing about what I'm doing in missions. And if you'd like to hear about it, put your email in the little link below. And over time, yes, people have been interested apparently to hear what is going on in the world and what the Lord's doing. And so they sent me their email and they've been reading ever since.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, what the Lord is telling me in the last, 1 month or something, because I'm pretty stressed out about fundraising, if you didn't understand it. But it's like, it's not about money, it's about people. This is like, it's like tormenting me with this. It's like, so what you mean? It's, for me, it's like, I mean, that's what the Lord is saying. It was saying to me, like, take care about the people, like, think about the people. I will think about the money. And sometimes it's pretty scary to go also to people that you know, and they know what you do in the church, for example, to ask for, I don't know, for money. Yeah, super scary. But also to just be part of the prayer team, or be part of, like, I want to keep you updated with what I do. It's like, it's, for me, it's uncomfortable to go and, do you want to know what I'm doing? It's like, you know.
Do people really care about me?
Yeah. But then I found out that people are like, literally, they come to me and they ask me, but is there any way to know what you are doing, guys? I mean, always evolving everything. People once in a month comes, and so, do you have any news? And so I'm starting to say, if you want, I can put you on my mailing list, which is super uncomfortable to say, but they actually do like it. They
And they respond.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had many responses over the years of people who'll send back emails with prayers in them, or encouragement, or just curious about what's going on. They'll give updates about their life, so I can hear more about what's going with them as well. But they're interested. People read, and they like photos.
Yeah, and videos as well. Yeah.
Yes.
But so, just the last question about this. What about family? I mean, that's the other biggest, like, struggle. It's not, I mean, for my family, they're not Christian, so it's very hard to make them understand even what we are doing without make them think that we are totally crazy.
Right.
But now we get in there. So my mother is like, oh yeah, I'm starting to understand. But do you have any family, like part of the family supporting you?
So when I first came, first my family is amazing and I love them a lot. But what I had to learn and realize is that I had some subconscious, like, entitlement or feelings of entitlement towards other people's money. When it comes to your family, like, why wouldn't you partner with me? And I really had to learn that I'm not entitled. And so when I first came into missions, I did not have financial supporters from my family. And over the years, family has started to support me, which has been really awesome. Yeah.
Because, I think because they can see.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, I think so. They've become some of, like, my biggest cheerleaders, whether that's financially or else. They have become very supportive of what I'm doing. I think some of them at the beginning were a little frustrated that I wasn't, if I am doing ministry, doing it in Australia, and they had to come to an understanding of
why you're going away, why you're going for for ministry.
And others felt like, well, if this is a calling from the Lord, then you need to make your own way forward, and He needs to pull that path for you. We can't be a security net for you. So, which is actually,
I mean, in a way, it's good.
It was good. It was hard.
It's a confirmation. Yeah,
but it was very
tough.
good now.
Of course, it's tough. It's the worst no that you can receive. Yeah. I mean, it would be for me. I don't know for you, but it's like I would be. But at the same time, it's something. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I can see it has a sense anyway. So, yeah. So last question is, and this is very important. Like, I'm gonna put like tension music on. No. What I don't know, maybe 3 advices or 5 advices that you can go.
5, 10,
maybe
15,
3 or 2. Pick the number. But it's like what you advise with to somebody that is gonna start tomorrow as a missionary. So what you learned, like, from your experience on support raising. So what you will change from, now something that you know now that you didn't know before, and you realize that this one I could do it better. Like I could be better in this.
I think the first one is what we were talking about earlier, which is that people do care about you, and they are interested in what you're doing. Maybe not everybody, but there is people who are interested, and so share with confidence and be honest about where you're at in that journey. So if you're at the beginning of missions and you're just exploring it, it's okay to share that with people. And if you're 10 years in, well, great. You're probably very good at sharing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, I think they understand. If it's like the first step ever. You don't have to have everything together.
Yeah.
If you've never done any kind of ministry in your life.
That's a good one. I mean, yeah.
And people
like,
will understand that. Yeah.
Trying to make everything perfect is what we are experiencing. Is like you think you know what you are doing, and generally you do actually, but it's like the details are changing all the time. So it's very hard. They are growing.
Yeah.
The projects are like defining, getting better, more specific. So you can,
Yeah. And the second thing would be being uncomfortable isn't a bad thing. So get okay with being uncomfortable because it is the place that you will grow from. And a lack of provision isn't a sign that you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. Yeah. Sometimes he wants to teach you something else.
Yeah. It's like, for sure. It can be, you can.
His timing is perfect, but it's not always our timing.
Yeah. That's the problem. Why? Yeah. I mean, that's another question. And then give me a third one. Like,
a third one.
Give me something literally very practical. Something that somebody can start with. Like, I mean, I don't know, just go through the Facebook contacts or are you sometimes
very
like,
practical.
Because the Lord, that's what I want to give you. I want to give people
practical advice.
Yeah, because, the Lord sometimes talks about practical things and you don't realize that.
Oh yeah, that's been like the second half. That was learning how to steward things and fundraise in a different way. Fundraising has become much more fruitful in the last couple of years. After I finally started learning that the Lord does provide, fundraising became a little easier. And to no credit of my own, I would reach out to people and they would respond with very open hearts to support what I was doing. But that started with crawling through my Facebook and my Instagram and networking with my family's friends as well and writing down a list. I think I wrote down a list of about 100 people.
Wow.
Maybe 2.5 years ago when I was like, I really would like consistent monthly support now.
Yeah.
And I had a big spreadsheet. I put them all down in and then I would reach out to them. And I didn't just reach out to them once if they didn't respond. Sometimes I reached out twice or 3 times. I think follow-up is really important because just because they don't respond doesn't mean they're not interested.
Yeah.
We literally had, this wasn't me personally, it was for our organization, $100,000 donation come in one day. But we followed up 10 times before that happened. And they were like, sorry, we were on holiday having a sabbatical. And they were genuinely so interested and instantly wanted to support as soon as they read the message. So follow-up is very important. And sometimes people need that reminder because they have their own lives and their own busyness going on.
On the Facebook like friend list.
Yeah.
When we went through that, we were like, okay, maybe this one can donate. This one, I don't think so. She doesn't have any money to give us. That was our thinking, and then you realize you cannot decide.
They get to decide. Don't decide for them.
Yeah. In people you don't know, it's like people, how God is going to work into people's heart is, And
I think there is a spiritual element to fundraising. Obviously there is, but on the flip side of that, you can also get a little attack sometimes, or it brings up lies that you potentially believe as you fundraise, like, oh, they're not interested. They're small lies. It might be the whispers of the enemy, but learning to tune those out.
Yeah.
And just continue on in confidence with choosing people to talk to.
Yeah. And be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's worth it. Everything else is so much fun.
Yeah. It is, actually, yes. I mean, of course, it's like, it's not a job, but there is no perfect job. So even like working for the Lord, which is the best possible thing you can do in your life, for your life, it's not it's not always like beautiful and flowers and no, it's like there is no perfect job. It's like it's not always flowers and stars.
Yeah.
So sometimes, I mean, also being a missionary, serving the Lord, you will have like bad days and uncomfortable tasks to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people from the base that's super comfortable with fundraising. I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty
It's rewarding because you see people's lives get transformed. That's your payout. It's not really like fundraising is to live off for daily needs, but you're not working for money. You're working to see lives transformed. So that's happened, and I wouldn't want to work for anything else now.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So guys, I hope that this was helpful for somebody of you. I don't know if you are starting with support raising, or maybe you're thinking, maybe you're Italian, forse sei italiano e stai pensando di diventare missionario, I don't know. But just to give you like a perspective, this is Sarah's perspective. We will have a totally different perspective on support raising with Rachel.
Oh yeah.
She's gonna give us a totally different like picture of it. And I want that because there is no like, you was talking about blueprint before. I think there is no blueprint. There is many different blueprints, but then it's also something that it's helpful for you. It's something uncomfortable, but it's a process that God is going to use in your life, for your life, to grow you out. So thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah, maybe, we do a second episode on something else. I don't know.
You never know, you might see me back.
Bene ragazzi, allora se volete seguirci ci potete seguire sia su YouTube che sui social. Paolo and Nina, no Paolo e Nina, ma Paolo and Nina. Trovate tutte le informazioni che vi servono, ok? Se volete farci domande, se volete fare domande a Sara, gliele potete fare sui social da me, io poi vi porterò le risposte. Grazie e ci vediamo alla prossima puntata. Thanks Sara, bye bye.
Bye, ciao.